Alright, I might be a little late on this one, but yeah, we got leaks from Hideki about the new Super Boss King on Global. It's interesting because it's very kind of soon that he's coming out on Global. I imagine, I mean, they are pumping content a little faster than JP because I assume they actually do want to catch up to JP at one point. But King is gonna be hard, dude. King is gonna be probably the most difficult activity Global is gonna have for a while, just because of the nature of people have not worked on gear enough time for them to really be able to spank King. But let's talk about it. So King was it the activity, the first super boss that came out on JP, and I do have a video of me doing it when he came back on JP, because at the time I wasn't playing the game when he first dropped on JP. I only played it when he came back. I'm going to link this video in the description if you want to see the full fight. It's the same fight, the only difference is that I'm doing Hell in here, while Global, I don't think they're going to drop Hell, because it will be impossible. Like literally, what was the combat class requirement for Hell? Like 160k? Or something like that, 180k? If it ever loads. YouTube has been terrible these past few days because of the whole quarantine thing. Yeah, 150k, which... it's not, you know, the highest, but it's very high for Global. Like, for Global, like, no one has this, unless you're like a super mega big whale, right? So, I don't think they're gonna drop Hell. I think they're just gonna drop normal and hard, and they're gonna take like a few days and then drop Extreme, because there's no way. There's no way they're gonna drop Hell. But yeah, so King is very, very hard. Again, if you want to see the gameplay of how he works, the link will be in the description. I just want to talk about some units that you might want to build to be prepared for King. Because how it will be, right? With the medals that Hideki showed here, I'm assuming that King will be exactly like the new Super Boss system is on JP. Because when he first dropped Super Boss, it was just you complete the fight, you got coins, and that was it. But each individual difficulty had different coins, right? Now, it's different, like every difficulty has the same coins, the higher difficulty you get more coins per completion, but there's also a point system that if you make more points in a match, you get a higher placement. I have here the last one we had on JP, which was Demon Meliodas and Elizabeth. There were two of them, right? So with points you could buy Meliodas' costume, and with position, if you got the top 30% in the world, you'd get Elizabeth's costume. Which both costumes look pretty cool. Actually, Meliodas looks pretty cringe, but Elizabeth looked incredible. And you also get extra rewards. If you're like top 5%, you get your pendants and stuff like that. So lots of rewards. I'm assuming they're gonna do the same thing, but they're gonna tone it down, because man, I don't know, man, it's gonna be hard to make positions like this early in the game, right? There's no one end game that's not a whale right now. Is what I'm trying to say, right? Like here, my friend Ignan, he started playing the game 2 weeks before this came out, and he got top like 30% easily. But when it comes to like right now, people are not gonna have the same ease, right? We don't have as many resources as JP drops every week because the game is brand new. But yeah, so talking about the characters, I have the list of green characters. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. This is not gonna drop next week. I assume. I don't think this is gonna drop next week, because usually when Hideki like gets like a leak of a file, it takes the game to drop in like 2 or 3 weeks after it gets leaked. It's usually how it goes. Like the new character that we had on JP last week, I think he data mined like a month and a half prior. So it was like it takes usually a while. It never is the week after. It barely is. Sometimes it is actually, but it almost never is. So I would expect King to take like 2 weeks. And I have like a theory, but don't take this as concrete at all. at all. But I have a theory that Merlin is actually not coming next week, this Green Merlin. And they're gonna drop her with King. Because here's the thing, Merlin will be an exceptional unit for King. Like very, very good. So I personally think, I don't know, I wish I had contact with freaking Netmarble. I would tell you, no, I wouldn't tell you guys because they'll probably beat me up. I wish I had contact with Netmarble to ask them, but I assume that they're gonna drop Merlin with King, like the banner with the activity, so people can't beat King, and they're like, oh no, I have to summon for Merlin, let me drop gems for Merlin, and then they summon for Merlin to be like easier to beat King. That's what I'm thinking, and I think, like I said, like just because again Hideki leaked doesn't mean it's gonna be next week. It might take like 2 or 3 weeks for her to actually come out, and next week they could drop something else that is not already in the files that he hasn't leaked yet. So just a theory, she might drop next week, but it's just a theory of mine that I have, that maybe Green Merlin will take like 2 or 3 more weeks, depend. She would drop with King, is what I'm trying to say, is my theory. But again, nothing concrete, I just thought of that. If it is, it would make like a lot of sense, right? Because she's gonna be very good. He's blue and she's green, and let me actually open what she does right here. She is an exceptional unit, especially for the activity, because she takes off ultimate gauge. And if you let King ult you, you're dead. You're just dead. Like there's no comeback. You're dead. Like all your 3 units are dead. So taking off his ult gauge will be immensely helpful. And again, that's why I do think that she could come. Like, she could come with King. But yeah, so moving on to other units. Counter Meliodas, you know, we've been saying, you know, reroll for Counter Meliodas for a reason. He's gonna be very good. His counter is just really good, and he also cleanses his buffs. If you watch the video, you'll see that in the gameplay, he gets like a bunch of buffs from these guys right here. Like they keep look at his 4 buffs right here, 4 attack buffs. So Meliodas, upon ultimating, he cleanses all the buffs. So that's very helpful. He's gonna be very incredibly helpful. And, if you have him, probably want to use in your team. But you need to remember also the point system. So how the point system works, you get points by doing things, right? By using cards, by applying buffs, taking off buffs, applying debuffs, but most importantly, doing damage. And the more damage you do, the more points you get. Now, the one thing is that Meliodas' counter actually does a lot of damage. If you get like a level 2 counter, or a level 3 counter, if you can, without Gopher is very hard, but if you can, get like a level 2 or 3 counter, that's very good. But one unit that is like insanely good for damage is Jericho. Again, we've been talking about, dude, work on Jericho. Jericho is really stupid, and she is already going to be really good because of her ultimate. Her ultimate applies Spike, which doubles crit damage, and she already has base with a lot of crit damage. You need to really see to believe. I have a video where I hit with her for like 3.5 million on type disadvantage. I can also leave a link in the description for that if I remember. But she is stupid insane, and she will be very good for it. Like, again, if you haven't worked on Jericho, she is a coin shop unit. Start working on her. She's really good, and if you can buy dupes for her, or if you pull dupes for her, put on her. She's incredibly like useful for a lot of activities. So yeah, Jericho is going to be insane. And then we have Green King you can't use. Unfortunately, he would be like a really good unit, but because you're facing King, you actually can't use Green King. Gil Thunder would be really good, but Gil Thunder, he's gonna be like he's gonna take a lot of damage. The attack buff is not worth for the amount of damage that he's taking. Green Elizabeth would be super good because she also removes buffs. But there's a real big issue, which is that Red Elizabeth is just better. So Red Elizabeth, you can use her. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. You can use her in the back. So what I'm thinking of making myself is a team of Counter Melee, Jericho, and Bon, right? Bon right here, if you have Bon, he's going to be really good. He should be in the coin shop next week, so if you have saved coins, you can buy him. But Elizabeth, in the back, heals all the allies by 10% per turn, which is so freaking good. It's just a broken passive. It really is. She's like the best SR in the game. Like, I don't want to say objectively speaking, but I think she's the best SR in the game because of it. And it's super good. If you do it correctly, she'll never be in the front, so being type disadvantage does not matter at all. She will be a 4th slot unit, so it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to bring a full green team. Like, all 4 units have to be green. You can use her in the back, and just a passive, just healing you every turn, is just going to be super good. Bon's going to be really good because he lifesteals. Snatch only works for 1 turn on Kick, and then he takes it off, right? But For the one turn that works, that's all you need. And then you do the damage, and he life steals, and it's really good. Bon is like gonna be very, very good for it as well. And I think there aren't that many other units that I would say are really good. Like Elaine is pretty good because she decreases the skill ranks, and she takes off ult gauge at level 1 and 2, level 2 for both of these cards and this card, which is really, really solid. And that's pretty much it that she does. She just takes off ult gauge. Like I said, that's why I'm thinking that Merlin could drop with King, because she would be very helpful, just like Elaine. Elaine dropped with King on JP, because she takes off ult gauge. So it could be the same case where they drop the unit that takes off ult gauge because of it. So again, just a theory. Don't take it as concrete, but no, it is a valid theory, I would say. And other than that, there aren't many other units. That's why I'm saying it's gonna be a very hard activity, because the roster for units that would be good for it is very limited, and because the point system, like Gustav can be very solid for the point system. If it's not like the point system from JP, then Gustav will be completely useless, because I'm 100% sure you can't freeze him for the turn, right? You might be able to freeze him in this very same turn, so you can do extra damage, but you can't freeze him for him to not attack in that turn, if you get what I mean, right? So he can be really good for damage. So if you have the point system, if you level 2 freeze and then ult with Jericho, doing the extra 80% damage would be very good for the points. But if it's not a point system, and I don't know, these medals are given like some other way, right, different than how JP did, then it will be completely useless. But that's pretty much it. Be prepared. Again, Mystic also has a video. Mystic has a video when he came out, like when he actually came out. Again, it won't be just like when he came out, because there might be the point system, but then again, it was like the normal of the time, and it was around like the CC that we have already on global, so that his video is also really good. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Be prepared for King. If Merlin drops next week and not with King, then it might not be a terrible idea to for her to be prepared, because she will be really good for it. But I don't know. We'll see. Whenever patch notes drop, I think tomorrow for global, we'll actually see who's dropping next week. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching.